Hello.
Hi. In our last discussion, we were going through all the texts in the book of Exodus where the elders of Israel, this already existing institution, but organic institution based upon the tribal system that was already there in Egypt under Pharaoh, they still had a structure.
Right,
and
because they were families that came together, and were separated by Pharaoh into their own little community.
That's right.
So it makes sense that they would have been organized by the heads of the families.
Yeah, they came down as already existing 12 families.
Right.
And now they've become 12 tribes. So in chapter 18, we have a new figure comes into the story, and he takes a significant place in elaborating this government that already exists in Israel. It's not scrapped. You might think, well, God's got this theocratic thing he's setting up. And we'll find out more about what that looks like in the subsequent segments. But he takes the structure that's already there and the principles of organic governance, that is bottom-up governance coming from the tribes themselves, and elaborates upon it in this sequence of verses from verse 13 onwards. And interestingly, it's the outside element, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, a Midianite chieftain, who initiates the process.
Right. Okay. So you wanted me to read from 13?
And I'll also read later from the New American Standard.
Okay. And it came about on the next day that Moses sat down, as usual, to serve as judge for the people. And the people kept standing before Moses from the morning till the evening. And Moses' father-in-law got to see all that he was doing for the people. So he said, "What kind of business is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone continue sitting, and all the people continue taking their stand before you from morning till evening?" Then Moses said to his father-in-law, "Because the people keep coming to me to inquire of God. In the event that they have a case arise, it must come to me, and I must judge between the one party and the other, and I must make known the decisions of the true God and his laws." At this Moses' father-in-law said to him, "It is not good the way you are doing. You will surely wear out, both you and this people who are with you, because this business is too big a load for you. You are unable to do it by yourself. Now listen to my voice, and I shall advise you, and God will prove to be with you. You yourself serve as representative for the people before the true God, and you yourself must bring the cases to the true God, and you must warn them of what the regulations and the law are, and you must make known to them the way in which they should walk and the work that they should do."
And this from the New American Standard Version, verse 21 onwards. "Furthermore, you shall select out of all the people able men who fear God, men of truth, those who hate dishonest gain, and you shall place these over them as leaders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. And let them judge the people at all times. And let it be that every major dispute they will bring to you, but every minor dispute they themselves will judge. So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this thing, and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure, and all these people also will go to their place in peace." So Moses listened to his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel, made them heads over the people, leaders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of ten. And they judged the people at all times. The difficult dispute they would bring to Moses, but every minor dispute they themselves would judge. Then Moses bade his father-in-law farewell, and he went his way into his own land. This is a chapter that's very easy to forget. It's kind of boring. Not organizational stuff that most of us want to pay much attention to, but it's so vital in understanding how the theocracy develops in Israel. First, the outsider aspect, which is, do we expect light from those outside the theocracy? This is not a member of the nation of Israel, but he is a wise man, who is an elder of his own people. So there's one lesson for us. There is wisdom of God coming from outside. Not something you learn in the Watchtower.
He mentions God will be with you. So we shouldn't assume that people outside of our understanding or outside of our faith even are not on a journey with God in some way. It might not be the way you know, and it may be that they haven't maybe become Christians yet, if you like, but they are on a journey because God is in the life of everyone. He's leading people. He's watching what's going on. He's not, I don't care about these ones, I only like these ones. He cares about all people, but people's journeys are different.
It's one thing Balaam had to learn in the book of Numbers, right?
Right.
You accept wisdom even when it's coming from an ass.
Yeah, and you're not all born in the right circumstances, perhaps, to know about Christ. So that shouldn't be. It's no thing to stand in the way of God having a journey with you and bringing you to where you need to be.
I think there's a second lesson we could learn from this chapter too, which is that when a leader as charismatic or as gifted as Moses appears, the natural tendency of people is to go to him for everything. And the natural tendency of a leader is to feel, well, that's what God is indicating to me, that I should do what they ask me to do. I should be the leader they want me to be. But then Jethro butts in and says, no, this is not good. You are human.
Yeah.
And what would wear anybody else out will wear you out too.
Yeah.
And so use the wisdom that's already there, the gifted men that are already there that God has raised up.
And humility. I mean, Moses, we're told, was a humble man. But I think for most people, delegation is hard. I mean, even as a parent, you should tell your children to do certain things. But oftentimes, in your impatience, because you could do it quicker, you just go ahead and do it. But that's not good. It's not good for you, and it's not good for the people or for your children.
Yeah.
We need to learn to delegate and not be so proud about it and think, oh, proudful. I invented a new word.
It's a good word.
We shouldn't think that only we can do it right.
So Moses, even before they get to Sinai, learns a lesson himself, namely that the fact that you are Moses and you're the man doesn't mean that you have to do all the stuff, and wisdom flows through you. So here's a denial of the pyramid structure right away.
Right.
We haven't even got to the priesthood yet, and already Moses has been told, no, you won't do everything, you can't do everything. And that in itself throws out the Watchtower structure, where all wisdom flows top down from the apex of the pyramid.
Yeah. No, not here.
So interesting that the leadership, the delegation, goes all the way down to 50s and 10s. So when you think about that, you realize, well, if there's 600,000 men and 2 million people approximately at Sinai, then that means there's got to be thousands of leaders. And when we visited chapter 24, where the 70 are invited up for a meal with God, to see God, that's the cream of the cream then. The leadership by that time are the special leaders, and that's why that number 70 becomes so significant later, that it becomes the number of the Sanhedrin, the leaders of Israel, the leaders of the leaders, as it were.
Okay.